First trucks carrying aid enter Gaza, but besieged enclave desperately needs more. The first trucks carrying aid entered Gaza on Saturday, but international leaders have warned that much more is needed to combat the catastrophic humanitarian situation in the enclave that holds more than 2 million people. The admission of trucks comes 2 weeks after Israel launched a complete siege of the enclave in response to deadly attacks by the militant group that controls Gaza, Hamas. The trucks entered through the Rafah crossing, the only entry point to Gaza not controlled by Israel, as seen by CNN's team on the Palestinian side of the border. The crossing closed quickly after the 20 trucks went through. People on the Egyptian side of the border, where aid organizations had waited for days to be given the green light, were jubilant as the crossing opened, celebrating with ululations and chants. According to Egyptian authorities at the Rafah crossing, 13 trucks were carrying medicine and medical supplies, 5 were carrying food and 2 trucks had water. A formation of Israeli tanks and other military is positioned near Israel's border with the Gaza Strip, in southern Israel October 20, 2023. As a ground incursion looms, the big question remains, what is Israel's plan for Gaza? While these supplies are desperately needed, aid workers said they are a fraction of what's required for the 2.2 million people crammed into Gaza under a blockade imposed by Israel and Egypt. Martin Griffiths, United Nations Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator, said the delivery followed days of deep and intense negotiations, adding that the humanitarian situation in Gaza has reached catastrophic levels. Conditions have grown more dire each day, with hospitals on a breaking point, according to the World Health Organization, WHO, and Gazans are fast running out of food, water and other critical supplies amid near-constant bombardment by Israel. UNICEF said it managed to send more than 44,000 bottles of water with the convoy, which the agency said amounts to a day's water supply for only 22,000 people. The lack of food is also a serious concern, with the World Food Programme's, WFP, Executive Director Cindy McCain telling CNN that starvation is rampant in Gaza. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus stressed that the needs are far higher than the aid people in Gaza have received. The Ministry of Health in Gaza said the aid convoy constitutes only 3% of the daily health and humanitarian needs that used to enter the Gaza Strip before the aggression. From Ramallah, in occupied West Bank, head of the Palestinian National Initiative Mustafa Barghouti said Gaza needs 7,000 trucks of immediate aid, adding, 20 trucks will not really change much. None of the trucks brought fuel to the enclave, raising concerns as it is needed to run hospitals and to desalinate or treat water, according to aid agencies. Wael Abu Mohsen, head of communications for the Palestinian side of the Rafah crossing, told Saudi state media Al Hadath TV Saturday that fuel was not delivered, despite fuel supplies running dangerously low at hospitals and schools in Gaza. As the situation deteriorates, Israel appears to be readying a massive ground force and military material at the Gaza border. In Egypt's capital, world leaders gathered for the Cairo Peace Summit on Saturday, initiated by the country's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi in a bid to de-escalate the situation in Gaza and protect civilians in the enclave. While representatives from 34 countries, including the Middle East, Africa, and Europe, and the UN were in attendance, Israel was absent from the summit. Sisi called for efforts to focus on brokering a truce and ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. He also called for the resumption of negotiations for a two-state solution and the establishment of an independent Palestinian state that lives side by side with Israel on the basis of international legitimacy. But one political scientist played down hopes of a breakthrough. Dalia Dasa, a senior fellow from the UCLA Berkel Center for International Relations, told CNN, "I doubt we are going to see very immediate concrete results," adding it is clear the Egyptians and others in the region feel a need to show some kind of diplomatic horizon. In a post on social media, Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs acknowledged the summit, saying it was unfortunate that some of those attending it had difficulty condemning terrorism or acknowledging the danger. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus stressed that the needs are far higher than the aid people in Gaza have received. The Ministry of Health in Gaza said the aid convoy constitutes only 3% of the daily health and humanitarian needs that used to enter the Gaza Strip,